Hello, wonderful and amazing people. We should be live. We should be live on Twitter. How about that, huh? Well, I guess we're doing this now. I guess we're doing this on Twitter now. And you know what? I like it better. All you trolls can come at me now. I don't think there's a chat though. So you guys can't yell at me in the chat. If you Twitter trolls want to come over and actually, troll me, you're going to have to do it on Rumble, so feel free. That's fine. There's Rumble chat. That's the only way you guys can talk to me right now. Or on YouTube, but the show's bound to get taken down over on YouTube because we get tinfoily over here. We got a lot to get into tonight, folks. There is a ton going on like there always is, but Tucker, man. Tucker breaking the news. And that's why I'm here tonight. That's why I'm here tonight on Twitter. We're doing this here now. We're also going live on Rumble. They got their thing going on, but Twitter or Tucker coming over to Twitter is a big deal. That immediately makes Twitter a video streaming platform. It already was, but you need third-party software to stream live on Twitter. As far as I'm aware, I'm using StreamYard to stream on Twitter right now. But anyway, welcome to CaliBased. I am the Santa Cruz Mountain Goat, the one and only. I am your host for the evening. If you would be so kind, if you're watching over on Rumble, please go down there and get that little thumbs up button. Just light little tap there. That'd be nice. I greatly appreciate likes, shares, subscribe if you can. I'm not monetized on Twitter because Elon Musk doesn't like me very much. He doesn't think too highly of me, apparently. But I will eventually, if you'd like to support me. There are links in my bio. I have a Give, Send, Go set up. You can also go to my locals. I don't have any content on my locals yet, though, so I feel bad for you going there. Anyway, let's get right into it. I want to talk about Tucker. So as you guys are probably already aware, he came out and had a video yesterday. You guys probably already watched it, but I've watched it twice already, but we'll watch it again right now because it's what we're going to talk about. So let's see what Tucker had to say yesterday, shall we? All right. Let's listen to Mr. Tucker Carlson. I got to say, I'm a little excited about this, folks. I swear I paid for faster internet. I promise.
Hey, it's Tucker Carlson. You often hear people say the news is full of lies, but most of the time that's not exactly right. Much of what you see on television or read the New York Times is in fact true in a literal sense. It could pass one of the media's own fact checks. Lawyers would be willing to sign off on it. In fact, they may have. But that doesn't make it true. It's not true. At the most basic level, the news you consume is a lie of the stealthiest and most insidious kind. Facts have been withheld on purpose, along with proportion and perspective. You are being manipulated. How does that work? Let's see. If I tell you that a man has been unjustly arrested for armed robbery, that is not, strictly speaking, a lie. He may have been framed. At this point, there's been no trial, so no one can really say. But if I don't mention the fact that the same man has been arrested for the same crime 6 times before, am I really informing you? No, I'm not. I'm misleading you. And that's what the news media are doing in every story that matters, every day of the week, every week of the year. What's it like to work in a system like that? After more than 30 years in the middle of it, we could tell you stories. The best you can hope for in the news business at this point is the freedom to tell the fullest truth that you can. But there are always limits. And you know that if you bump up against those limits often enough, you will be fired for it. That's not a guess, it's guaranteed. Every person who works in English language media understands that. The rule of what you can't say defines everything. It's filthy, really, and it's utterly corrupting. You can't have a free society if people aren't allowed to say what they think is true. Speech is the fundamental prerequisite for democracy. That's why it's enshrined in the first of our constitutional amendments. Amazingly, as of tonight, there aren't many platforms left that allow free speech. Last big one remaining in the world, the only one, is Twitter, where we are now. Twitter has long served as the place where our national conversation incubates and develops. Twitter is not a partisan site. Everybody's allowed here, and we think that's a good thing. And yet, for the most part, the news that you see analyzed on Twitter comes from media organizations that are themselves thinly disguised propaganda outlets. You see it on cable news, you talk about it on Twitter. The result may feel like a debate, but actually the gatekeepers are still in charge. We think that's a bad system. We know exactly how it works, and we're sick of it. Starting soon, we'll be bringing a new version of the show we've been doing for the last 6.5 years to Twitter. We'll be bringing some other things too, which we'll tell you about. But Ford is grateful to be here. Free speech is the main right that you have. Without it, you have no others. See you soon.
Well, there's a lot there. So, all right, there's a ton there. There is a reason that the first two amendments in our Constitution are the right to speech and the right to bear arms. They're the most important ones to protect us from a tyrannical government. And the fact that Elon has clawed Twitter back from the grips of, and you can't really call them anything different, the deep state. It was the DOJ in collusion with Twitter to suppress information from us. And now information is more free. You can't really call it a free speech platform because, yeah, you can't say anything that you want. It is still Elon's rules, but you have to admit that information sure is a lot more free. And I mean, look at the Texas shooter situation, which we'll get into much more over the weekend, or that occurred over the weekend, and I talked about on my last stream, but there was dialogue that was able to take place around this that people would have got kicked off of Twitter before, guaranteed. They would have got censored for questioning the agenda, but sorry, I'll stop sharing that. So Tucker, well, let's see what he gave up here. So I got an article pulled up on this from Politico, believe it or not. I believe it's Politico. And, oh no, I'm sorry, it's Axios. So, yeah, so, okay. So it looks like he gave up some money, and let's get into it. The scoop, Tucker Carlson, this is from Axios, written by Mike Allen and Sarah Fisher. Scoop, Tucker Carlson accuses Fox of fraud and contract breach. Tucker Carlson, 2 weeks after being ousted by Fox News, accused the network Tuesday of fraud and breach of contract and made a host of document demands that could precede legal action. Why it matters. The aggressive letter from his lawyers at Fox to Fox positions Carlson to argue, the aggressive letter from his lawyers to Fox positions Carlson to argue that the non-competitive provisions in his contract are no longer valid, freeing him to launch his own competitive show or media enterprise. Voila, Twitter. On Tuesday, Carlson announced that we'll be bringing a show to Twitter. Starting soon, we'll be previewing our new show, blah, blah, blah. We just saw this. Sources told Axios that Carlson's lawyers sent their letter before he took to Twitter to announce his new show. Well, that makes sense. Carlson's contract runs until January of 2025. So he gave up money to, they were trying to silence him. And he's like, nope, I'm going to keep talking. And well, Twitter's not a video streaming platform. So him coming over to Twitter and saying that he's going to do his show, that means Elon's really going to have to step up his game on video here. And, there's already the potential for video streaming on Twitter. Obviously, I'm doing it right now. But, they don't have chat. It's not set up like YouTube. You can't break out your video separately from your tweets. It's not really set up to do that right now. So they're going to have to do some stuff. And, it'll be really interesting to see what they're going to do. I applied to be monetized on Twitter, I think, like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago. I don't know, something like that. It was a while ago, and it hasn't happened yet. But I imagine everybody's applied to be monetized, and they're running the skeleton crew over there, so I get it. But I'm still going to complain. So I'm thinking that Twitter is the way to go for live streaming, but more importantly, I don't think people understand how much more free information is now. Just basic stuff that the Hunter Biden laptop really is the perfect example of this because, you know, a lot of people didn't know about it altogether. They hadn't even heard of the Hunter Biden laptop because it was so suppressed. And then people that brought up the Hunter Biden laptop because, you know, the straight up CIA came out and what was it? 51 of them signed a letter. This is like just came out in their investigation that they did too. 51 of them signed a letter stating that, yeah, sorry, I lost it. The CIA, they lied. They said it was Russian collusion. Sorry. The laptop, 51 of them came out and signed a letter saying that it was Russian collusion and disinformation, and it obviously wasn't. It was a laptop cracked out. Hunter Biden left at some computer repair shop that dude somehow got to Rudy Giuliani, and Giuliani sat on it until, you know, any politician would and tried to break it at the exact moment. And it should have been an election altering thing. Like, there's no way Biden should have survived that. Like, the information that's on that laptop, there's no way Biden could have survived that. And the intelligence agency colluded with Twitter, the biggest disseminator of information online. They colluded together to suppress that. That is election interference, my friends. Yeah, we're live on YouTube right now. And Raj, go tell me how I'm wrong there. Tell me how that's not election interference. And you guys did it too, YouTube. I would love to open your books. I would love to see your guys' emails between the FBI and other branches of the DOJ, between YouTube and Google, and see how you guys suppressed information. I would love to see that, you know. And the great thing is, people don't. Very soon, they're not really going to need you guys anymore. YouTube and Google. Brave is doing big things. Brave as a browser. I'm actually streaming right now with the Brave browser. I'm not using Google Chrome. They get StreamYard gets mad when you tell them that you're not using Google Chrome because they never test it with Brave. But I think it's working. Is it working, guys? Are you guys still there? Oh crap! Did I lose you? Hopefully, you guys are still there. Yes, you're still there. See, the Brave browser works apparently. Don't want to jinx myself, but it's a big deal, guys. It's a big deal that not only do we have Twitter now, but it's like a whole new world. It really is. It's like the Wild West days of YouTube all over again, starting from the beginning. I hope. I'm thinking, but you know, in a different decade. It's this could be cool, guys. I don't know. We'll see. We will see what happens. I'm very curious to see what Elon's going to do. I want to show you guys Brian's. So naturally, CNN starts freaking out over this stuff, but I didn't have this. I just saw this right before the show started, so I didn't have a chance to get it pulled up, but I bookmarked it really quick. And I would love to show you guys this quick one because is Brian Stelter back on CNN? Oh no, this is NBC. Is Brian Stelter on NBC now? I don't know what's going on. All of a sudden, I saw Brian Stelter again. I'm not sure if he had his pants on or not. I can't tell. Let me drag this over here so I can show it to you guys more easily. Oopsies. Oopsie daisies. All right. I think we're good. Sorry, folks. Bear with me here. I want to show this to you. Yes. All right. Stand by. I just want to show you Brian Stelter and CNN freaking out about the fact that Tucker Carlson is going to not be muzzled in the slightest anymore. He's going to, I mean, Fox News, I don't know how much they muzzled him, but you have to imagine that they did. He at least got pushback, you know. Maybe he said anything that he wanted to, but I imagine he at least got some pushback. And I can hear some of you guys screaming the controlled opposition. Tucker's controlled opposition and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, maybe. I don't think so, though. I legitimately do not think that Tucker Carlson is controlled opposition anymore. Maybe he was in the past, but I don't think he is. You can see this arc that he's been on. You just see the things that he talks about and used to talk about and how he talks about them now. He's anti-war, pro-free speech, pro-Second Amendment, and he speaks out very loudly against the cathedral, the deep state, the corporate press, the mainstream media, all that stuff. He speaks out very loudly against it. So even if you guys call him what you want, call him controlled opposition, call him what you want, he's a net positive from my stance. So that's anyway. Let's look at Brian Stelter freaking out really quick. Just because it's funny. It's funny to see Brian Stelter freaking out. I kind of miss the guy.
There make lots of money with Elon Musk yet. Basically, Carlson is challenging Fox at this point.
Yeah, 100%. But listen, they were hemorrhaging.
Amazingly, as of tonight, there aren't many platforms left that allow free speech. The last big one remaining in the world, the only one, is Twitter, where we are now.
Okay, well, listen, Twitter was already under fire for misinformation, disinformation, all-out lies, anti-Semitism, racism before Elon Musk took over, and now it's gotten kind of crazy, right? Seemingly unmoored, if you will. Will anybody be able to police what Carlson says, or is this the point? It's just a free-for-all.
I think this is.
They say it out loud. Like how does that, is that just fly over everybody's heads? Does people just not catch that there? Is anybody going to be able to police what he says? What? What do you mean? Police what he says? Like, this is what I don't get too. The whole misinformation and disinformation stuff that they drive in everybody's head. Like, everybody should be so scared of information, even if it's false, even if it's deliberately untrue, even if they're trying to mislead you. You should want all the information, all of it. Decide for yourself. Crowdsource. See what other people are saying. That's what we've always done. And it's what you should do. And now we have access to more information than we've ever had in history. And they want, well, them, the arbiters of the information, want to have control of it. And who's the arbiters of the information? Big tech, the corporate press. So they've always had control of this. And now all of a sudden they got people coming in like Donald Trump's and freaking Alec Jones's and Tucker Carlson's and Elon Musk's that are like, no, the people should be able to have access to information, even if it's bad words and mean things, like all of it. They should have access to all of it. What does the establishment try to do? Crush them. Sorry, folks. I mean, they might crush us. Sorry. I don't mean to associate myself with those kings over there. It's not it. They will try to crush me though. If I get too puffy, they would try to crush me too. But I'm just a little guy, so nobody cares about me. But look what they try to do to all of them, and they are going to go hard after Tucker now. They're going to go hard after Elon now. We're already seeing what they're doing to Trump. All right, sorry, I'll stop babbling.
The point, it is a free fall. It's what Elon Musk wants to provide. This move by Tucker may cement the idea of Twitter as a right-wing website, and we see some users trying to go off to other sites instead. Maybe folks who don't want to be a part of that party going off trying to launch other parties elsewhere. But Carlson, he is a prominent figure. He can bring a lot of content. What he cannot do is make $20 million a year the way he was making at Fox. Fox may owe him $25 or $30 million. Yes, he may give that up and make that money elsewhere, but that has not happened yet. To be clear, Carlson's lawyers tonight, according to two sources, sent a letter to Fox, a shot across the bow, trying to get this going, trying to get a negotiation going to get his freedom. But he doesn't have it yet. So he can't go out there and make lots of money with Elon Musk yet. Basically, Carlson is challenging Fox at this point.
Yeah, 100%.
He says can't go out there and make lots of money with Elon Musk yet. Elon Musk already came out and said clearly, unequivocally, that there's no deal between Tucker and Twitter. There's no deal between Elon and Twitter. Tucker's coming over there, and the same rules that apply to everybody else apply to Tucker. He keeps everything for the first year and 10% after that, from my understanding. Those are the rules. Those are the monetization rules. It'd be super cool if I could get monetized, Elon. I'm streaming on your platform, doing it right now, not monetized because you hate me. Anyway, sorry, Tucker.
that, but listen, they were hemorrhaging advertisers on Twitter before this whole thing happened. So you've got to wonder whether if advertisers were already fleeing because of this, this toxic culture on Twitter, are they going to stick around now for Tucker Carlson, or will more of them come in? Because
the short answer is no. The short answer is no. Carlson was radioactive. He was a drag on Fox's profits. So I don't see how Twitter would be any different for Carlson and Musk.
Brian, always great to get your perspective, and I'm glad you're no longer across the street. Nice to see you. Thank you very much.
The only reason advertisers would have an issue is because of this whole cancel culture crap. I hate to use that phrase because it's so played out now, but Tucker has the highest views of anybody. He's got the most eyes. Any advertiser in their right mind Tucker would be the first person that they would want to advertise with. And then pantsless Brian Stelter over there. No, short answer is no. Short answer is no. There's going to be no advertisers over there. Shut up, Brian. God, you're so annoying. He's such a little creep. All right, just wanted to show you that really quick. Enough with Tucker. Well, no, not enough with Tucker. You guys all remember this one from one of the reasons that I'm harping on this and trying to explain why it's so important is because after the election, and I think before January 6th, it might have been after January 6th. I can't remember when this article came out, but you guys all remember this article, the Time article, by Molly Ball. Oh, this was this was in February, so it was after January 6th. Molly Ball, the secret history of the shadow campaign that saved the 2020 election. You guys all remember this article, right? I remember sitting at Apple. I was at the main Apple campus over on Infinity Loop, sitting in my car at lunch, freaking reading this article. And my brain was breaking as I was reading this article. I'm not going to read the whole thing because this thing is serious. Look how long this is. This thing is like a confession letter. It's not an article either. This is a freaking how we did it. This is a confession letter. This is like, to me, what this thing was like a serial killer that has to talk about how proud he is of the crime that he committed and how organized it was. Look at how long this is. It's so long. I think it took me like 45 minutes to read this thing. It took me a while to read it. But I just got this one section highlighted that I want to remind you guys because they bragged. They bragged how they did it. So the shadow campaign, right? So a weird thing happened right after the November 3rd election. Nothing. A nation was braced for chaos. Liberal groups had vowed to take to the streets, planning hundreds of protests across the country. Right-wing militias were girding for battle. In a poll before election, 75% of Americans voiced concern about violence. I remember. Instead, the eerie quiet descended as President Trump refused to concede. The response was not mass action, but crickets. When media organizations called the race for Joe Biden on November 7th, jubilation broke out as people thronged cities across the U.S. to celebrate the democratic process that had resulted in Trump's ouster. I'm sorry, I think I highlighted the wrong part. I did highlight the wrong part. I did. I apologize, guys. But I encourage you guys to read this whole article. I don't have time to read this whole thing tonight because we have so much to get into. But this thing, I'll just read the second part. The second odd thing happened amid Trump's attempt to reverse the election. Sorry, I'm scanning this. There was a part that I pulled up last night. Oh, here it is. I'm sorry. Okay. This is what I meant to read to you guys. This is when my brain started to explode. You have to scroll down and get into the article a little bit. The handshake between business and labor was just one component of the vast cross-partisan campaign to protect the election, an extraordinary shadow effort dedicated not to winning the vote, but to ensuring it would be free and fair. Credible and uncorrupted. For more than a year, a loosely organized coalition of operatives scrambled to shore up America's institutions as they came under simultaneous attack from a remorseless pandemic and the autocratically inclined president. Though much of this activity took place on the left, it was separate from the Biden campaign and crossed ideological lines. The crucial contributions by nonpartisan and conservative actors, the scenario the shadow campaigners were desperate to stop was not a Trump victory. It was an election so calamitous that no result could be discerned at all. The failure of the central act of democratic self-governance that has been the hallmark of America since its founding. Dang it, that wasn't it either. I'm sorry. I'm ruining the whole thing. Read the article, guys, if you haven't read it already. You guys probably all read it. But in response to this, basically, the Federalist had a pretty good article. And it was very difficult to read that because they were talking about how Mark Zuckerberg sat down with, leaders from BLM and leaders from, they tried to say that it was like it was like a bipartisan effort. And I don't know what was bipartisan about it. What did Mitt Romney help? Like, I don't know what was bipartisan about it, but they talked about how, like, yeah, if there's any misinformation, we're going to suppress it. So they come out with this article, the Hunter Biden laptop story gets proven as true. The Twitter files stuff comes out that shows the collusion between Twitter, the DOJ, and then that's not even including all of the stuff with, Google, stuff with Apple, Facebook, all the other players in the game that have access to the dissemination of information. And Twitter was the most important one. And, well, it's been clawed back. So, pretty big deal, guys. Pretty big deal, I think. Sorry, doggos are barking. I'll just read a couple lines from this Federalist article really quick. The 2020, this is from back in, October 12th of 2021. It's by William Doyle at the Federalist. The 2020 election wasn't stolen. It was bought by Mark Zuckerberg. During the 2020 election, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg spent hundreds of millions of dollars to turn out likely Democratic voters, but this wasn't traditional political spending. He funded a targeted private takeover of government elections operations by nominally nonpartisan but demonstrably ideological nonprofit organizations. And in that other article I was just reading, they talk about who he sat down with and everything, and lots of details. It was just the control of information. So we're not talking about any sort of fraud. I'm not implying any sort of fraud whatsoever. I'm talking about information that the voters should have had that they didn't have access to, that turned out to be true, that was said to be false information or disinformation that never was. And this changed the outcome of the election. It's not just that either. It's not just the Hunter Biden laptop. The Tara Reade story. Tara Reade story was suppressed. That was called Russian disinformation, whatever they called her. I mean, so much. It's not just the Hunter Biden laptop is like an all-encompassing term. All the stuff that was on his laptop. I mean, there's the crack, there's the gun that he lied about, purchased, and ended up in a dumpster. Then there's the really big stuff. Like, that's just the stuff that the left likes to dismiss. Oh, people have had drug problems. It's not that big of a deal. Even though if it was any Trump's kids were crackhead, they'd be freaking out. But that's the little stuff. Like the actual collusion, there's serious stuff on that laptop that was suppressed. And it's like, not only did the crimes and the FBI, the people that are supposed to be investigating these crimes, are the ones that suppressed it from the people. And then the people are the ones that are investigating it. It's just, everything's backwards, bizarro world inside out, but that's okay. I'm not going to read you the rest of this Federalist article because we have so much more to get into. So that's basically it. Tucker's on Twitter. Twitter's going to become some sort of video streaming platform. I don't know how they're going to do it yet, but I'm with it. I am hip. I am with it. So I am there. Kind of bugs me out though because they don't have a chat window, so I can't see if you guys are yelling at me or anything. So kind of a bummer, but that's okay. All right. Enough about Tucker, Twitter, all that, but it's a white pill. It's a white pill, guys, for sure. Information is much more free. There's more access to it now, and I'm very excited. It's exciting times, guys. Exciting times. All right. Okay. Well, it got pretty exciting on Twitter over this weekend. Fairly exciting. We all know about the Allen, Texas shooter. I got into it on my last stream, and I don't know what happened with my video last stream, guys. I hope it's better this time. It looks fine on my end, but the video was horrific on my last stream, and I don't know what happened. I hope I have it fixed. Actually, I think I do. I know what happened. I think I fixed it, so hopefully it's better. But yeah, I talked about the shooter, the Allen, Texas shooter on my last stream. Got into that. Went into as much as we could, and, well, a lot more stuff has come out. And, well, let's just start from the beginning. So this kind of all started with this dude named Eric Toller, who actually followed me on Twitter at one point. And I was like, interesting. This guy's got like 100 and something thousand followers, and he randomly followed me. So I followed him back. Well, he unfollowed me at some point. So probably realized that I was a conspiracy theorist. But I found it very interesting that it was him that put this stuff out. And that's when I first heard about Bellingcat. I was like, oh, Bellingcat. Well, that's a cool sounding name. I wonder who these people are. Well, I went down that rabbit hole, guys. I went down the Bellingcat rabbit hole. But let's get into the thread that Eric Toller brought out about the Allen, Texas shooter that got everybody so up in arms. Poor choice of words, guys. My bad. All right. So I believe this is his first tweet that came out. But Eric Toller works for Bellingcat, journalist. Well, he's a journalist. He's much more of a journalist than I am. I don't call myself a journalist, though. Eric Toller. Took a while to find. Took a while, but I found the Odnoglasniski profile of the Allen, Texas shooter described in the New York Times, and that's that Russian social media platform profile that he had. And the profile is no longer up, but the link to the profile is still there. If you click on it, it just brings you. It just says you get a 404 error. But this, he says he got this from the New York Times. Investigators trying to learn why a gunman fatally shot at least 8 people at a Texas mall are examining a social media profile rife with hate-filled rants against women and black people that they believe belong to the gunman. The profile found on social media site ok.ru matches the gunman's birthday and refers to the motel where he was staying before the shooting. The profile also includes language praising Hitler with references to neo-Nazi websites like the Daily Stormer. On Sunday, officials identified the gunman who was killed at the mall by a police officer as, and I am going to say his name because it is pertinent to the story, as Mauricio Garcia, 33. The motive for the attack remains unclear. Okay. So New York Times comes out with this article immediately after, and they're like, hey, they don't say where they got this info from. They're like, investigators trying to learn, they're saying investigators are examining a social media site. So they're saying, I guess the New York Times, right? That's where he said he got this from. Took a while, but I found the blank profile on the Allen, Texas shooter described in this New York Times article. Okay, so he said he read this New York Times article. They said that he has this profile on this Russian social media website because they got tipped off from investigators, right? And he starts digging into it, Eric Toller, and he finds it. He finds the one with the matching birthday, and then he starts pulling stuff up. And then he's got this YouTube video right here, which I'll show you guys in a minute. And then, and we'll just go through his whole thread. The most recent post on his OK profile is basically his manifesto / suicide note. He closes with a quote from South Park. Okay. So immediately, it's like you have to use the word manifesto too, because it's like, what have we been asking for about the Nashville shooter for this whole time? It's almost like are you baiting us? It's so freaking triggering. Because, sorry guys, I need to drink. You guys drink whiskey, I drink Red Bull. It stresses me out. Not the Red Bull, this guy. So we've been trying to get the manifesto for the Nashville shooter for how long, and then information about the Nashville shooter is very not forthcoming as well. And then immediately we start getting info about this shooter, and well, he starts going into it. We conveniently get this New York Times article that says, hey, there's a social media profile, a Russian one where no other ones exist except this random YouTube account. And, well, we also get a manifesto and a suicide note. Okay? And he's convenient. Well, he's a Latino Nazi, apparently. He's Latino, and he's got a swastika tattoo and the SS tattoo. The SS tattoo looked very fresh. Okay, so yeah, it says that he most recent post on OK was basically his manifesto suicide note. Flashback to IL Right OK's 2009 Bellingcat article on mass shootings. Okay, so how convenient. Bellingcat has an article back in 2019 on how mass shootings have been gamified when the Allen shooter is talking about the decent kill score in Nashville. Okay, well, it does make sense that he would know about a Bellingcat article that, he probably wrote it. So this is something that, and all this stuff does appear to be legit, this does appear to be the shooter. He is Latino, and he does appear to have these, like a swastika tattoo and the SS tattoo on him. This was verified by the authorities that I'll show you later. And this is something that he wrote. This is one of his posts right here. Slayer, mod. And I'm probably not going to say some of these words. Mod, deranged former Yakuza member and derogatory term for an Asian person, cell. Rest in peace to all victims and my condolences, Foyd Soy. Real men don't murder innocent victims, Chad. Just because the shooter is trans doesn't mean trans lives don't matter, Soy. No. F all this noise. It's all so empty, fake, and boring. Every school shooting to me is the perfect time to be a completely horrible person and see this event like a sport or a comedy. The most important thing about a school shooting is to know the race of the person who did it, the kill count, and then compare their accomplishment of the murder to all those that came before, and also learn intricately the life of the killer so memes can be made. Because let's face it, killing people in the interesting way is an art that. All right, you know what? I don't want to read this anymore, guys. This is just it. You guys can read it if you want. It's this Eric Toller's. He shows it there, but this is sort of just like a deranged rambling, and he is sort of glorifying mass shooters in this writing. And I hate reading this stuff, especially out loud, because it forces you into the mind of a killer. It really does. I don't like reading this stuff, guys, so I'm not going to anymore. But you guys are welcome to. I'm going to close this one and just continue with his thread. But this is basically his little glorification of mass shooters, and I wouldn't call this a manifesto. It's just basically him rambling about. He's kind of glorifying the Tennessee shooters and saying even though she's trans, she's still cool because it's sick. It's really sick what the person wrote. And then this is a picture of the vest that I believe he was wearing when he was shot. And it's got this RWDS patch on it, which is Right Wing Death Squad, apparently. And they other people show pictures of, I don't know if it was Enrique Tarrio, but it was some Proud Boy that also had the same patch, I guess. Okay. And then Eric Toller writes, he was also trying to be the Zodiac killer, I guess, because he shows this picture of like, you know, written out on paper. It's like a cipher. It's an encrypted, coded message. But handwritten out, you know, I don't know. And then here's his tattoos. And this is the picture that everybody is like super suspect. Like, where's his face? Like, why? Like, where's his face? You know, so everybody's super suspect about this. And it is like, because his hand, the original picture that we got of the dead body, when we didn't know any information, all you could see was the tattoo on the guy's hand. And in this picture, the guy's face is cropped out and the guy's hand's cropped out. They're calling him a Nazi. So naturally, everybody's like, oh, okay, you're calling him a Nazi, and then you're cropping out the picture of his face. But this is from his account. This is his stuff, and he's probably just showing off his fresh ink. You know, this one looks very fresh. This one I can't tell, but this one's all raised around the edges or whatever. But it all looks legit. But then Eric Toller says the Allen shooter was apparently a Timcast fan, and he's got like screenshots of a bunch of Timcast episodes, and pictures of barbecue and just other random pictures. And then Eric Toller also writes, worth noting the Allen shooter didn't have any friends or groups on his OK profile. He used it like a personal diary. He may have chosen OK because there's virtually zero content moderation. It's like, okay, but why didn't he have any other social media? Like, you can have another social media. You don't have to post all the Nazi stuff. Why didn't he have any other, digital footprint? We have the YouTube thing, but it's why no Instagram, no Twitter, no whatever. It's just, these are just questions that people were asking as well. Like I said on the other one, why is his face cropped out? Why is his hand cropped out? Because of the information that people had outside. It was just asking questions because, seems a little suspect. And Eric, and also this profile, it has zero interaction. I don't think there's like one comment, nothing on his profile. So it seems like a personal diary, and there's no interaction with anybody else. And then he says, Christ, just noticed this. He was at the mall where he did the attack 3 weeks prior. He was monitoring for peak visiting times on Google. Did he post that or what? I mean, that's super creepy. So he was like, he was casing the scene. So it's just a sick dude. Receipt for the kit that the Allen, Texas shooter bought back in 2020, posted a few weeks before the shooting. Okay, so he posts what is like his plate carrier. Okay. He posts the plate carrier that he's going to go do the mass shooting in. So he's treating this website as like a story of how he became a mass shooter, essentially. Okay. And also keep in mind, one thing people were suspect about, or was very suspicious to me also, maybe it's because it's a Russian site, so it's harder to take down, but this site remained up for a super long time, where it's like all the other mass shooters of late, their sites were taken down and wiped immediately. Like everything was super hard to find. Not this one. This one stayed up for quite a while until an article came out confirming all of the information on this site, and then the site was taken down shortly after that article came out, conveniently. And all this stuff had been circulating on the internet all day already. Boxes upon boxes of ammunition that he apparently received a few weeks before the shooting. These photos were posted at the same time as pictures he took at the Allen Mall. So, again, confession, it seems. I guess we'll never know if this guy was a liberal fascist or anything else. Oh, well. So obviously sarcastic. These appear to be some crazy, this looks like is this a Mexican wedding, but a Mexican Nazi wedding? Like, okay. And then I think this is the final one of the final tweets. Calling someone a violent incel has lost a lot of meaning in the last few years with the term being so overused, but yeah, it fits here. And this is another rambling of his. I did read this, but I'm not going to read it again. You guys can feel free to go to Eric Tuller's tweet. It's still up. If you want to read this one. And it is kind of the same, more the same the other one. Yeah, freaking incel ramblings. He is kind of right about that one. Worth noting that he uploaded this video before the shooting and scheduled it to be published into his YouTube channel after the shooting. In a March post, he linked to the YouTube channel, but so it's definitely this. Okay, got it. Okay, this is his apartment. All right, these are just some memes he posted. Other Nazi ideology stuff. And him being sarcastic about it. His ideology will forever be a mystery. Okay, and he continues to tweet. One last thing. Jake Godin, the Allen shooter was a big fan of libs of TikTok and signed off on one of his posts with Heil Hitler. Okay, so the final tweet he wanted to throw in there and make sure that libs of TikTok was associated with the Allen shooter. Okay, so make sure you associate Tim Pool and libs of TikTok with this Allen shooter, right? Okay, and so this information comes from a New York Times article that investigators say they found this Russian profile that matches the birthday, but they're not sure if it's him. And then he reads this in this New York Times article that I haven't even found it yet. I looked for it a tiny bit, but I didn't have time. I didn't find the whole article. He finds it. He goes looking on this website that nobody had ever heard of until this day. Like nobody in the West. I don't know what Americans use this freaking Russian website. It's a big website. It is. We'll look at it in a little bit. But immediately goes and he finds the website, matches the info, and what up, Northside? Oh, wow. My video is also horrible now? That's awful. I don't know why my video is bad, guys. I'm sorry. Well, now I got to see if I can fix it. All right, stand by here. Sorry, folks. Thanks for letting me know, though. Appreciate it. I wonder. I wonder why. Yeah, I think I'm on Wi-Fi. That's why. Stand by, folks. Connection issues. Well, I don't know what to do about the video here, guys. I apologize. Stand by really quick. Hmm. Not really sure here, guys. Let's see. All right, I apologize about the video, folks. Hopefully I can get it fixed for next stream. But I want to get into this what is Bellingcat a little bit. But let's look at this. Let's look at the video he uploaded really quick. All right, this is the shooter, so be prepared. This is a weird ass video too.
Not quite what you're expecting, huh? Well, that's the video.
So he said, not quite what you are expecting, huh? And he used that voice modifier thing.
See ya.
Then that weird Hitler emoji, and it continues with that music for another 30 seconds. So super weird, super creepy. Yeah, and then if you go to Bellingcat's Twitter, they say in a tweet, in his latest Bellingcat article, Eric Toller explains how he was found on a social media profile belonging to the Texas mall shooter. The account contained a variety of identifying details as well as the pictures of the shooters showing off Nazi tattoos. And they just link to Eric Toller's stuff, go over details about the shooting, and also show, you know, the Nazi tattoos, and then the hand tattoo that is the Dallas thing. Stand by, folks. I'm going to check one other thing about my network, because now I'm bummed out that my video quality is really bad. I'm going to disconnect my Wi-Fi. Maybe it's defaulting to the Wi-Fi. We're still alive? Oh. Is my video still trash, guys? I hope it's better. I can't tell. I don't think there's anything else I could change in my settings either. Yeah, I'm gonna have to talk to my buddy Paul, Sibling Reveille. I need your help, bro. So sorry about the video. I really apologize about that, but I can't let it get me too distracted because I need to continue off on this. So what is this Russian website, right? It's a Russian website that has lower content moderation. It's got a ton of active users. I think it's like 25 years old. 46 million active users, mostly teenagers. The name means classmates. It's set up a lot like Facebook. Yeah, it's just a Russian social media website, and it's got less content moderation. And, you know, he can get away with throwing up Nazi stuff. You know, so that's what that was. So it just immediately, you know, it's like, okay, the shooters. The first info that comes out about the shooter is you got the picture of him on the ground, you got the hand tattoo, people are trying to link him to trying to say it's a Tango Blast tattoo is the gang that they're trying to link him to in the beginning. That turned out obviously not to be true. They also said that his parents required a translator. So it's like, okay, so he's probably Mexican or, Salvadorian or, somebody that speaks Spanish, obviously. And then the next information that comes out is all of this information about how he's a Nazi. And this information came from a weird Russian social media website that nobody's ever heard of. And the person that's giving us this information is somebody that works for Bellingcat. And, well, we'll get into Bellingcat in a little bit. But with all that stuff that I just said, naturally, people were a little suspect. People were like, okay, this is seeming a little psyopy. Seems a little psyopy. Just a little bit, just a little psyopy. Sorry. Hopefully the video, I really hope it's better. It looks fine on my end. I don't know what the deal is. All right. I'm just going to have to push through and hope I can get it right for the next one. I'm bummed out now, though. I was really, really bummed out about my last stream. I hope I didn't check the wrong box again. Maybe it was default checked and I did it again. I really hope not. All right. Anyway, I might have done it twice, but so yeah, naturally people start asking questions, and well, when you ask questions this day and age, it gets you labeled as a conspiracy theorist. So, Clint, Liberty Lockdown. Well, we're gonna use your thread here, buddy, because he got absolutely hammered this weekend or yesterday, the day before. The left just absolutely lost it on this guy. He got all retweeted by a bunch of crazy leftists, and it turned into a big giant thing. But his first tweet, he says something's off, and yeah, naturally, because this picture on the left, what we're told, what somebody found it, like a prior arrest, and it matched his name. Well, this ain't the dude, and everybody's looking for his neck tattoo, which isn't in this picture. So immediately, everybody starts going crazy about that, but everybody soon realized, like, okay, it's not the same guy. And it's like, okay, everybody realized that really quick. Then he corrects himself right off the bat. Oh, okay, so it's this guy right here. And wow, like, look, same hand tattoo, and this does appear to be the same guy on the left. Talks about he got community noted and everything. But yeah, everybody starts attacking Clint, and he didn't present any sort of theory. Said this seems a little off, guys. Seems a little psyopy. That's all. And well, anybody that questions anything nowadays gets accused of being a crazy conspiracy theorist, and then all of a sudden everybody starts acting like everybody knew there were Mexican Nazis. Everybody knew this. Everybody knew that there was a heavy white supremacist sympathizing culture in Mexico. I didn't know this. I didn't know this until yesterday. I didn't know this. I have friends that are from Mexico. I have a friend that lives in Mexico right now. I'm from San Jose. Like, I've never heard of this before. Yeah, Venezuela, a bunch of Nazis, and they go to not Venezuela, Argentina after. Like, bunch of Nazis escaped Argentina. Okay, all right. Well, when you guys you see the guy's name, you see his parents need a translator, and then all of a sudden you say he's a Nazi and he's got Nazi tattoos and it's from this Russian weird website, people are going to ask questions. It seems a little suspicious, but everybody starts attacking him. Well, that's the great thing about Twitter now is, well, you could be wrong. It's okay. And the thing is, he wasn't even wrong. He was asking questions from the beginning. And I mean, I still have questions too. And then we should probably get into where this info came from. So Eric Toller gets it from the New York Times article, and the New York Times article, the New York Times people got it from the investigator. The most recent information to come out about the Allen shooter was from the Allen American, and they confirmed all of this. I don't want to take too much time on this. I don't want to read the whole article, but they basically confirmed the pictures on the website were indeed his, and everything else that we already know. So the information did check out to be legit, according to them. That is his profile on that website, and yeah, it does appear to be legit. So they confirmed all that. Well, I'm going to remind you guys of something that Nancy Pelosi told us about back in, I think, like 2018. So let me just show you an old video that I'm sure all you guys have seen. I just pulled this up on Twitter from some random person's tweet. I meme, therefore I am. I'm borrowing your tweet here, buddy. You guys remember when Nancy Pelosi said this? I'm curious if when I share video, if the quality is as bad. Tell me if you guys remember.
We call it the wrap-up smear. If you want to talk politics, call it the wrap-up smear. You smear somebody with falsehoods and all the rest, and then you merchandise it. And then you write it, and they'll say, see, it's reported in the press that this, and this. So they have that validation that the press reported the smear, and then it's called the wrap-up smear. Now I'm going to merchandise the press's report on the smear that we made. And it's a tactic, and it's self-evident. We call it the wrap-up smear.
Okay, so she's basically talking about, politicians come up with a story to smear somebody. They give it to the media reports on it, and then the politicians say, see, the media is reporting on it. And that's their circular wrap-up smear. That's what she tells you. That's what a wrap-up smear is. I just want to remind you of Nancy Pelosi telling us the quiet part out loud, that this is an actual tactic. This is something that they use, that there are people that sit around tables and think of dark and dirty ways to trick you into thinking what they want you to think. There's people that's their job. They get paid lots of money to do that. So keep that in mind. Because I want to show you this article. Well, let's let Jimmy Dore talk about it, actually. Jimmy Dore does a much better job of me just explaining this article from the Gray Zone. Aaron Matei. I don't know if you guys follow Jimmy Dore or the Gray Zone or Aaron Matei. Aaron Matei sits in for Jimmy Dore whenever he goes out of town. I definitely think you guys should check out the Gray Zone for sure. Jimmy Dore's one of my favorites. I find out a lot of stuff that I didn't know about from Jimmy Dore, just stuff that, anybody could find out, but there's so many articles that just fly under the radar that people don't have time to get to. And Jimmy tells me about a lot of stuff that I didn't know was going on when I can't find it myself often. But Jimmy talks about...
I just want to remind people...
Jimmy talks about he talks about Bellingcat a little bit right here. And that's where all this information came from.
How the military-industrial complex funded news covers war. This is the CNN reporter they sent to Syria to investigate a suspected chemical attack. And watch how she investigates.
And there's definitely something that stings.
So, if I was a reporter on the ground in a war zone where a chemical attack just happened and I thought there was deadly gas on a backpack, the first thing I would do is start sniffing it. And it's amazing. She's still alive. She's still alive, ladies and gentlemen. Ooh, that sarin gas sure is spicy. I saw it featured as a sauce one time on Hot Ones. And Jeff Goldblum said the same thing. It stings. Yeah. So that's how they cover it. And so now, and then people like Aaron Matei and the Gray Zone and me come along and debunk their gas attack reporting in Syria or Venezuela or Libya or wherever it happens. We debunk CNN's coverage, which is just repeating the State Department and CIA talking points, which is what they do at CNN and places like the Young Turks. So we come along and we debunk it. So now they've invented their own quote unquote independent news. Who did? The government, the United States and the UK government have done this, right? And it's called Bellingcat. Now, we've told you about this before, and I'm going to refresh your memory. Bellingcat has smeared me personally at the show, also smeared Aaron Mate, and it's great to see that 60 Minutes is now in bed with them. Of course they are, because the government created this. The government created a pretend independent news agency so they can then push pro-war propaganda and then try to discredit people like Aaron Mate as he wins an award doing his anti-war coverage in Syria. Bellingcat is there to try to discredit Aaron Mate. And that's who this guy is. This is the guy from Bellingcat. And so Aaron Mate, so 60 Minutes did a thing on them just this week. And Aaron says it's a duty of any news outlet covering or citing Bellingcat to inform its audience that Bellingcat is funded by the United States and the UK governments, as well as several spook firms that profit off of U.S. regime change wars. Let's see if 60 Minutes does that. Let's see. Are you ready?
So that's basically what I wanted to show you right there. Just keep that in mind with Bellingcat. It appears there to also push an agenda, but appear as this independent nonprofit. But if you dig into where their funding actually comes from, Aaron Mate does a lot of work on this, and they tried to railroad him and discredit him, of course. But he's got an article on the Gray Zone here called Bellingcat. If you guys want to go to it, it's called Bellingcat. Who is the mysterious author of Bellingcat's attacks on the OPCW whistleblower? And that is the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons. And this all his original reporting on this was going around the Syrian gas attacks. Remember Assad's gas attacks on his own citizens, the white helmets, all that stuff? Well, Aaron Mate was reporting on a lot of that. And, Jimmy showed the clip of it, of the reporter going up, and it's like, oh, hey, there's this helmet. There could be this deadly sarin gas on it. She's like, let me sniff it. It's like, oh, it's spicy. What? What are you doing? Who would do that? So that's kind of who he's saying Bellingcat is they're, set up to be presented as this independent organization that's independently funded and there for seeking the truth and all that kind of stuff and democracy. But no, it turns out that they are heavily funded. They're basically state media. So look into it. This article, Bellingcat, who is the mysterious author of Bellingcat's attacks on the OPCW whistleblower. There's plenty of other people that'll tell you about Bellingcat as well. So I'm not saying that they're lying. Like, all that information does appear to be true. Like, the dude does appear to have those tattoos. He does seem to be a Latino guy that has Nazi tattoos and is some sort of Nazi right-winger, white supremacist. And he did horrific things. Like, all this stuff checks out, but it's just a lot of attention's he's been put on the spotlight, and nobody's talking about the dude that killed almost as many people just not too far away over in Brownsville, that ran over all the immigrants. And nobody's talking about the dude that murdered his 5 neighbors, including the kids. Nobody's talking about that anymore. And nobody's talking about the mass shooting, the 28 injured and 4 dead. What was it? Dadeville, Alabama? Something in Alabama that, I mean, I think they've arrested 4 or 5 guys now, all between the ages of 15 and 21, I believe. I mean, they're very selective about what mass shootings they like to talk about, and that's very apparent. And this was clearly one of them. And they found this information very quickly. Just everything seems highly convenient. That's all. And where's the manifesto from the Tennessee shooter? That's it. That's it. So all we're saying is this information is it's highly convenient. It came out really fast. It's came from not necessarily a dude, but a dude that works for an organization, Bellingcat, that has been known to essentially spread government CIA talking points. So yeah, we're a little suspect, you know, sue us. The thing is, we're allowed to be. We're allowed to be suspect. We're allowed to be wrong. Tell us we're wrong. Show us how we're wrong. We'll talk about it. If we are wrong, we'll say we're wrong. That's the glory of free communication and free speech and talking about this stuff. You can do that. So that's it. That's what I would say. All right. I think enough on that shooter and Bellingcat. Let's actually get to some California stuff. Yeah. Enough of that super depressing topic. I already got into the details of, you know, what actually happened on the shooting, and I don't want to do that anymore. So let's get into something that's a little more hilarious. Now we'll go over to this Fox News tweet here. So I'm sure you guys have been hearing about the over in San Francisco. They're talking about reparations. They've been talking about this for quite some time now. And well, looks like they just approved. Let's see. California Reparations panel approves payments of up to $1.2 million to every Black resident. Oops. Okay, but see, Fox News, you're annoying because that shouldn't be the tweet. There are qualifications that I've gone over in a stream from way a long time ago, but I have the article pulled up here. Yeah, it's like, and there's a minimum of like, what was it? $148,000, I think. No, that wasn't it. There's a minimum amount that it would be, but they basically came up with a total, and they're like, yeah, this is what we're recommending. This is what we're doing. And it got approved and voted on. And this is this reparations panel, reparations committee, task force, whatever you want to call it. So, you know, everybody's like, oh my God, they're really going to do this. They're really going to do this. I can't believe this is happening. And then, you know, when everybody's looking at how ridiculous it is, then there's our good old slick governor with his wonderful hair. Well, Gavin Newsom says no, not happening. And he does it in his typical Gavin fashion. Gavin Newsom declined to throw his support behind the cash payments of up to $1.2 million for Black residents recommended by his reparations task force, according to the report. And this is a quote from him. This has been an important this has been an important process, and we should continue to work as a nation to reconcile our original sin of slavery and understand how this history has shaped our country, Newsom said in a statement to the outlet. Dealing with that legacy is much more than cash payments. The funny thing is, he says slavery. We never had slavery in California, so this just makes us more funny. Here's another quote. Many of the recommendations put forth by the task force are critical action items we've already been hard at work addressing. breaking down barriers to vote, bolstering resources to address hate, enacting sweeping law enforcement and justice reforms to build trust and safety, strengthening economic mobility, all while investing billions to root out disparities and improve equality in housing, education, healthcare, and well beyond, he said. So he ran out the clock. He does what he always does. He's backtracking on his task force thing, which, like, nobody, I never thought this was going to happen. I never thought that they were actually going to pay the money, because there isn't. Like, where's the money going to come from? It's hilarious. This whole thing's hilarious. So he's backtracking, and when they asked him about it, he just has a bunch of long gobbledygook words about how we're doing all these other things that are basically just, we're not really doing anything. And we made this task force to show and like look that we're doing something, but no, you guys aren't getting any money. You guys aren't getting any reparations, guys. Gavin Newsom's not going to allow this to happen. And I don't know what this whole task force was for. I mean, how much money did this task force cost? Just this committee, these people, man, how many people sat on this committee? This must have cost millions of dollars just for him to say, you know what, guys? Yeah, this reparations thing is probably not a great idea. I don't think we're going to do it. So I don't know what all this was. This is, the minimum was $360,000 in checks. It doesn't look like it's happening, folks. But you no longer need to be a U.S. citizen to be a California police officer. Well, a San Francisco police officer. Soon, any other department in California that wants to enact that. So, thought you guys would think that's pretty funny. I did. Good old Gavin. Yeah, I just thought that was kind of great. So, I don't think the reparations are going to happen, guys. But I don't know if you heard about this one. I saw this on the Post. I think it was the Post Millennial, and I wanted to verify it with another source, just because people complain about the Post Millennial, and it does appear to be legit. But I've never heard of this. I've never heard of this website. So please feel free to go confirm what I'm about to share with you. Benzinga is the website, but Governor Newsom announces the launch of California versus Hate, a new statewide hotline to report hate acts in California. So he straight up opened a hate line, or a snitch hotline, and hate acts is loosely defined in here. But here, the phone number is 833-8-NO-HATE. Or you can visit CAVSHate.org. There's no CA in there, which makes me suspicious. I don't want to click on this right now, but I'm not going to. Governor Newsom and the legislature have invested $110 million into the anti-hate programs in response to a rise in hate crimes and all sorts. This was for the Stop Asian Hate stuff is what this is all about. I want to see what the details are here. Here in California, we're saying an unequivocal message that hate will not be tolerated, said Governor Newsom. We stand firm for a California for all, and it is important that we hold perpetrators accountable for their actions and provide resources for those individuals victimized by hate crimes. Unless you're a San Francisco citizen getting victimized by fentanyl people. Now Californians have another tool to ensure that not only justice is served, but that individuals have access to additional resources to help deal with the lingering wounds that remain after such horrendous crimes occur. Okay, this is anonymous. In California, our diversity is what makes. Okay, I'm not going to read that. Yeah, it's an anonymous hotline to where if you think your neighbor is doing something, you can just call and tell on them. But it doesn't say what will happen. With the launch of this California versus Hate resource line and network, we unequivocally state that there is no more home or place in California for hate. Said Business Consumer Services and Housing Agency Secretary Lourdes Castro Ramirez. We are doubling down on our commitment to combat hate by embracing the strength of our diversity and empowering Californians with the resources to support and prevent the end of hate in all forms. Okay, they just keep saying gibberish. Like, what does this mean? What does this mean? Like, what does this number provide? You have 911. What is this hate number for? California is strong because of our diversity, but hate-fueled violence remains a persistent and growing threat. Says, okay, blah, blah, blah. With the launch of California versus Hate, we're taking action to help put a stop to hate and provide support for victims, survivors, and their families. In the face of the hate across the nation, we stand united in declaring California is for everyone. I urge California to know their rights and to take advantage of these important resources. Again, nothing. What is the resource? It's a phone number. The hotline will also be complemented by a multilingual outreach program that emphasizes community engagement. The campaign aims to support efforts that encourage reporting and access to resources through targeted public services announcements, direct marketing, and other activities. California versus Hate also seeks to overcome reporting challenges, whether due to fear of retaliation, lack of trust, or other issues. By offering people targeted for hate, a community-centered approach that does not require engagement with the criminal legal team. Okay. The California versus Hate resource line and network is a non-emergency multilingual hate crime and incident reporting hotline and online portal. Reports can be made anonymous by calling 833-866-4283 or blah, blah, blah. Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Oh, there's hours for it. Okay. For individuals who want to report a hate crime to law enforcement immediately or who are in imminent danger, please call 911. It doesn't say what this line is for. It doesn't say at all. It's just like, okay, what? Somebody called me a mean name and you call the number? Like, what is this? And all it is a bunch of like, with the rise of hate crime, people need support and community outreach and this and that. Here's a phone number. What is this? Like, what is the phone number? I'm going to call it. Not right now. I'm going to call this number tonight and report. Well, when you guys say something hateful to me in the comments, I'm sure there's already something in there, but, somebody set up a burner. Let me report one of you guys so we can see what happens. See if Governor Newsom shows up at your house and makes you put a fin on your AR. I don't know. Gavin Newsom's going to come and take all your stuff. I'm just kidding. He would never come personally. I guarantee he has armed security as well. He will take your stuff, but he will still have private security. So yeah, there's a snitch line in California, it appears. Thought you guys would find that kind of funny. So while there's that snitch line going on, this is fairly horrific. I don't know if you guys heard about. There's a lady. I've been to this lady's store too. I think it was in Emeryville. Yeah, this lady was like total justice lady. She had what was her store? Something cakes, Angel Cakes, I think it was. On Sunday, a San Francisco woman was violently beaten and robbed by two teen girls in Berkeley. She had been making her way across the bay to attend a memorial for Jen Angel, an Oakland anti-police baker who was murdered. Okay, so I'm sorry. Right, that was the Angel Cake Burger. So Angel Cakes Baker, I'm sorry, that was murdered, and she was going over to Berkeley to participate in this memorial, and she was beaten up pretty bad and robbed. And thing is, like, she's going in support of like social justice stuff, and they beat her up pretty bad. These girls, they took her purse, took her phone, busted her eye. real good. But I'm wondering, is she supposed to call that phone number that Gavin Newsom set up? Like, is that what the number is for? I don't get what the number is for. So is it for this guy? Is it for the guy in Oakland that had a bucket and was at a sideshow and decided to get involved when he definitely shouldn't have? I'm sure you guys saw this one. I showed this on one of my last streams. This is a different angle of it, and it actually shows more of how it started.
Put that nigga up! Put that nigga up, bro! Right there! Right there! Right there!
Oh, they cut this video off. They continued beating him for a good amount more, and they pulled down his pants and kicked him square in his balls after that as well. Is that line, that phone number, the hate line, is that for that guy? Is he supposed to call after out of fear of retaliation? I'm just wondering. Is it set up for him? Just trying to figure it out. Yeah, I know, Terry. I am going to call and ask. Terry, is the video still awful? And I'm wondering, is the video still, is it only awful on Rumble, or is it also awful on YouTube and Twitter? Very curious. That's been in my brain this whole time, and I'm kind of bummed about it. All right. I do want to talk about Brooke Jenkins, the new SF district attorney, because I'm actually fairly impressed with her. She's been showing some backbone. And I did report, remember the whole Garrett Doughty fire commissioner beating, fire commissioner that Garrett Doughty beat over the head with a metal pipe because he was allegedly pepper spraying them like nights leading up to that, and like beat him within an inch of his life with a metal pipe, put a freaking hole in his skull, all that. And then they released him back into the marina. They weren't going to press charges because the fire commissioner wasn't cooperating for whatever reason. Well, turns out they are pressing charges. So that's good. There's a whole bunch of stuff. The moves that she's been making lately are solid moves. And it seems like she's actually trying to push back against this progressive agenda that's been going on and plaguing San Francisco for the last however many years. But this is oh man, what did I do that for? Sorry, guys. I was sharing it with you guys. But she makes some announcements, and every move she's made recently, I've been all right. Yeah, I'm good with that move. This is her making people cry.
I'm very excited about the prospect of this collaboration and this new partnership. This was an opportunity that, at least from the vantage point of the National Guard, that was offered to my office about a year or two ago and was declined. That was not in the best interest of San Francisco. What's in the best interest of San Francisco, and particularly communities like the Tenderloin and in South of Market, they deserve to make sure that they get to walk down the street without the situation that we currently see. An additional benefit of this collaboration is how it will assist us in the prosecution of these cases. More recently, we have experienced that many of our criminal defendants in the area of narcotics dealing are asserting a human trafficking defense. it requires significant evidence on our part in order to rebut that defense. And so I am very excited at the prospect of having additional resources to be able to dispel the notion that people are not here dealing drugs of their own accord, because that is clearly what is happening.
So you guys get what she's saying there. So they can't prosecute a lot of these fentanyl dealers because they're using the excuse, no, I've been human trafficked, and that's why I'm dealing these drugs. So they just confiscate the drugs and then they put them right back out on the street, and then they go get more drugs and continue selling. Well, they're not human trafficked. They're freaking drug dealers. They're fentanyl dealers. So these people continue to be on the street. They don't get locked up. Well, they don't have that defense anymore. And well, she's doing what's within her power to actually try to solve the problems. What she's talking about, South of Market and the Tenderloin, she knows what's up. Like, she knows where these problems are. And from the moves that she's making, it does seem like she actually wants to clean this place up. And kudos so far, because this she ain't no Chesa Boudin from what I'm getting. Like, she ain't no Chesa Boudin. She's showing backbone, and you know that I don't think Newsom's going to like this. I don't think doesn't matter. Pelosi, Feinstein, all the horrible people. I don't think they're going to like this, but I like it. I think this is, get the fentanyl dealers out of there. That's what people need too, is a hard detox. Get the fentanyl off the streets. They need unfortunately, they need like a Rudy Giuliani from the 80s or 70s or whatever it was approach to the streets of San Francisco. The fentanyl crisis is like as bad as the border crisis. I don't know if it's that bad. The border crisis is pretty freaking crazy. But the fentanyl crisis in San Francisco is insane. And what happened over COVID, because everything was shut down, it just allowed it to become zombie land. So now, like, tourists come there and they're like, oh, hell no. Like, there's no way. The tourism is dead in San Francisco. Everything's dead. It's going to take a while to recover, and I don't think they've hit rock bottom yet. But Brooke Jenkins, it looks like she is doing something about it, and kudos to her so far. I got another one pulled up where she talked about how they are charging Garrett Doughty. So there's that one. I was pretty mad that they were just going to let Garrett Doughty go and like let him get away with it. And everybody was, that's the thing too, is a bunch of people were cheering for it. A bunch of people were cheering for Garrett Doughty to be let go and saying like, oh, he was spraying him with bear spray. He deserved it, this and that. And it's like, that's the madness. That's the insanity that goes on. It's like people were justifying Garrett Doughty beating this man within an inch of his life. And instead of being like, well, he was spraying him with bear spray, so he should probably be charged too. Like, that's all you have to say. It's like, okay, fair. Like, charge him if you could prove that he was, spraying with bear spray leading up to it, charge him for that specific crime. But dude was beat with a pole within an inch of his life, and I thought they just let him go, but they didn't. They're charging him. So kudos on that one. And then they also, this is another charge that she brought against, another fentanyl dealer. So she just put out a tweet saying, this is Brooke Jenkins again, the criminal justice system needs to recognize that drug dealing is a serious crime. Communities are under siege by rampant open-air drug dealing, and we must do everything we can to protect public safety and ensure that there are consequences for suspected drug dealers. And this is just charges that they brought against this David Diaz Morazan. Multiple felony charges, suspected drug dealer of fentanyl, 11 pounds. So it looks like, from what I can tell, it looks like she is going to go after fentanyl dealing hard, and she's going to go after crime hard. That's what you need. You go after the fentanyl really hard, the homeless problem is going to start getting better. I'm not going to say it's going to fix itself, but if you take fentanyl out of the equation, a lot of people don't have a reason to be out on those streets anymore. You guys have no idea what this drug does to people. It's insane. Like, there's documentaries where people like fentanyl dealers, they'll be like, yeah, there's people that have like a normal life, just a normal life. They'll come out here, try fentanyl one more time, and then they are out here like permanently, just one time, just like that. Like, I don't know why any normal person would just try fentanyl for the hell of it, but all right. So yeah, she charged Garrett Dottie. She's going after this fentanyl dealer. They got rid of the human trafficking excuse, so now they can go after more fentanyl dealers. So Brooke Jenkins doing work. All right, I'm down with it. And then there's also the what's his name, Banco Brown or whatever. She hasn't caved yet. She hasn't caved to the mob. That's the security guard that shot Banco Brown, the person that was like stealing from the Walgreens and pretended that they had a knife and came at the security guard. Security guard shot him and the person died. Well, of course, they've been protesting and they want charges brought. And they've been trying to intimidate Brooke Jenkins into bringing charges, and she hasn't backed down yet. So kudos to her. They are still investigating. So, I don't want to say hopefully she won't back down and bring charges. Like if that is a very tough one too, because if it was unarmed and you're reviewing the footage and, I don't know what the rule is there. They charge at him if there has to be a certain distance away that he was, like, whatever she decides, as long as I may not agree with it, but if she decides to go after it, as long as she doesn't charge the security guard because she was pressured into it politically. If she goes after him because she thinks the security guard is at fault, then okay, that's her job. I'm not going to argue with her too much. I won't probably agree with it, but it'll be hard to argue, especially if she releases the footage. She says this is why. As long as she can back up every decision that she's making, I'm sort of with her, and I've been with her so far because she has been very clear and concise about the decisions and moves she's made so far. So, Brooke Jenkins, good job so far, everything that I can tell. But then, of course, you've got people on the left definitely calling for Banco Brown. Is that his name? Banco Broswick? That's what I like calling him. You got guys like this freaking turd. I guess he's running for something in San Francisco. I don't know what he's running for. We're going to check. Dean Preston. You guys ever heard of this turd? Who's Dean Preston? All right, this douchebag. So he got ratioed to oblivion.
Hey, everyone. District 5 Supervisor Dean Preston. As the pressure continues to mount for the district attorney to release the videotape of Walgreens security guard shooting and killing Banco Brown, we also need to take some action to make sure this never happens again. That's why today at the Board of Supervisors, I will be calling for legislation to specifically prohibit security guards from drawing their weapons to protect property. Human life is more important than property. We need to change our local law so that security guards cannot unholster their weapons just to protect property. Hey, everyone.
So first of all, screw you. Saying that someone's life is more important than property is just such a lazy argument. It's like, okay, well, is it really though? Like, what if the same person is repeatedly stealing from you time and time and time and time again, and nobody's going to do anything about it? It's a drug addict. Maybe they keep beating you up. Well, that's a different scenario, isn't it? But at what point do you have at what point can you defend your property? Somebody keeps coming stealing your cars. You buy a car, same people come and stealing. Like, I don't agree with somebody's life is more important than property. In some cases, sure. Like somebody stealing a Snickers, you're really going to shoot them over it? If they're not a threat to your life, yeah, that's a little excessive. But, if somebody is trying to steal something from me that will ruin my life, like if somebody stole my car well, now I can't get to work. Like, okay, if somebody's trying to steal my car, do I got a right to shoot him? That's an argument that could be made for sure. Dogs aren't considered. Dogs obviously aren't humans. Would they be considered property? You come to steal my dog, we're going to have major issues. I'm not saying what I'm going to do, but probably his argument wouldn't hold up there to where somebody's life is more important than property. If you come to take my dog, no, my dog's life is more important to me than your life. I have no problem saying that whatsoever. My dogs are more important to me than you if you came to take my dog, because that says a lot about who you are. So this guy's a turd. He got ratioed to oblivion and wanted to basically say that people can't unholster their weapons. It's like, okay, well, just don't have security then. Don't have cops then. Defund everything. Dean Preston. This dude probably lives in Pacific Heights, behind gates with private security that sits out on a street 24/7 in a idling SUV with a V8. Like that's who these people are. They'll preach global warming, defund the police, kumbaya, all this crap. Meanwhile, they got private security and they got the biggest, what do they call it? Footprint, biggest carbon footprint. Sorry, these people got the biggest carbon footprint of anybody, and they also have private security. But they want you disarmed. Yeah, this guy got ratioed to oblivion. So I wanted to share that with you guys. So what is he running for? What is this guy again? SF District 5 Supervisor. Democratic Socialist. Go figure. Okay. Supervisor Dean Preston. All right, Dean Preston, you are an absolute turd, and I hope you lose your job. Yeah, is that it? Nope, we got one more. Yeah, so this did come out today. Yeah, I guess we'll be done with California for the night, so I might as well. We got a little bit of time. I sort of put this in here just as a bonus in case I had time, and it turns out I do. So we'll talk about this New York Post article because this did come out today. I guess I won't need to talk about it on Friday. I will be talking about Trump's town hall on Friday because that's happening right now, I think, or it's already over. I'm not sure, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot of funny clips to go through from that. I don't know why he's back on CNN. Like, why would you do that? I hope basically Trump went on CNN and just wrecked them, told them how awful they are, how much they suck, and how he's never going to go back on there. And now that Tucker is off of Fox News, like CNN's going to, they are in trouble. Everybody's in trouble. I don't know how I did that. Sorry, folks. My bad. I don't even know how I did that right now. All right, yeah. Let's go to let's talk about the Bidens. Geez, how did I do that? Okay. So 9 Biden family members who allegedly got foreign money identified by House GOP. Okay, again, but stuff. Well, I don't know about the other family members, but we knew about like foreign money into the Biden's pocket for a long time. 10% for the big guy. The what was his name? The whistleblower dude that came out like very early, right off the bat. Bobolinsky said they tried to say he was Russian disinformation, the laptop, all the stuff that we knew. Well, now it's like all coming out and being proven. So let's just read this whole article. I might as well go through it. So House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer identified nine members of the President Biden's family Wednesday who allegedly received foreign income after teasing the bombshell for weeks. Since you asked, I'll tell you. Comer told a reporter of told a wrapped room of reporters at the Capitol after laying out a new bank record evidence showing first son Hunter Biden received $1 million from a corrupt Romanian businessman while his dad was vice president. I wonder. We'll continue reading. Joe Biden's son Hunter, Joe Biden's brother James, Joe Biden's brother's wife Sarah, Hunter Biden's girlfriend or Beau Biden's widow Haley. Oh God, this is such a disaster. However you want to write that. Hunter Biden's ex-wife Kathleen, Hunter Biden's current wife Melissa Cohen, and 3 children of the president's son and president's brother, Comer said. Wow. The chairman seemed to indicate that only one Biden's grandchildren and 2 of his brother's children got the foreign funds. That's a lot of Bidens. We're talking about a grandchild, Comer said at the press conference. That's odd. Most people that work hard every day's grandchild doesn't get a wire from a foreign national. I'm sorry. Most people that work hard every day's grandchild doesn't get a wire from a foreign national. Okay, that was written weird. James Biden has 3 children, including daughter Carolyn. James Biden has 3 children, including daughter Carolyn. Okay, sorry. Who pleaded guilty in 2018 to making over $100,000 in charges and stolen credit card. Okay. Emails from Hunter's abandoned laptop show Carolyn turned up her nose at an $85,000 job offer that would have allowed her to serve her probationary period near her beloved cousin in California. I'd take a job for 85 grand right now. That's not a lot out here, guys, though, just so you know. 85 grand in California is not a lot. Let's see. It was just pictures of Hunter and Joe. What the heck? Okay, Joe and his brother. More family photos. Bank records indicate $80,000 transferred from Romanian businessman Gabriel Papaviciu from 2015 to 2017 went to accounts identified only by the name Biden, for example. And a March memo from the committee indicates $70,000 from Chinese company CEFC, Chinese Energy, did as well. And keep in mind, all Chinese energy companies are directly attached to the CCP. So this appears that they have proof that the CCP paid the Bidens directly. Like they have proof of this. It's a pretty big deal, guys. Okay. Hunter Biden and first brother James Biden were well known for years for seeking millions from nations including China, Mexico, Romania, Russia, and Ukraine, but the involvement of other family members was only more recently alleged by Comer. Okay. The Oversight Committee issued a memo on Wednesday morning saying that Haley Biden appears to have received $10,000 in early 2017 from Papaviciu before receiving another $25,000 later that year as part of Hunter and James Biden's partnership with CEFC Chinese Energy. Okay, more money from them. Oh, okay, that's it. That's the end of the article. All right, so they have like legitimate proof that this. Like, what more do you need? Do you need like actual cash? Like, do you need Xi Jinping handing Joe Biden a stack of cash in his hand for this is insane. This administration is so bought and sold. It's absurd. And looking at all the moves that are made, like particularly with the border and just how every move benefits, well, not us. It's everything we've done has pushed Russia and China closer together. It seems like the Biden administration is deliberately trying to drive every fundamental institution into the ground. Like they're trying to collapse everything on purpose. It just certainly seems to be the case. Because even if it was just incompetency, you'd get some stuff right on accident, just some stuff would get, but it's like every single thing is the exact opposite of what you should be doing. Okay. I'm sure it's nothing. I'm sure everything's fine, guys. I'm sure everything's fine. The border's fine. There's no buses being lined up at airports ready to take people all over the country. I'm sure everything's fine. Everything is fine, guys. All right. Well, that's about it. That's going to be about it for tonight. That's all I got to cover. But you guys do know how we do it. But first, actually, if you made it this far, if you can, go ahead and give it a like button over on the Rumbles, if you can. Weaponized News, nice to see you. Terry, thanks for joining. Fall Civilization, nice to see you. I hope my video's better. I don't know if it was bad the whole show, if I fixed it. I think I was on Wi-Fi for like the first half of the show. I switched over to hardwired. Like my computer's hardwired, but I think it was, I don't know. Yeah. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'm trying to build something here, guys. Still no union job calls. Nothing's happening right now. Nobody's building conference rooms. Yeah. So if you'd like to support, I got a Give Send Go set up. You can Rumble rants are always good. You can go to my locals, all that stuff. But the best way to support is just like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Retweets always help. All that good stuff. But you know how we do it to end the show? Got to read a joke out of the best book in the world, The Truth About Chuck Norris. Last week's joke was sort of disappointing. It was a little anticlimactic. So we'll do a shorter one this week. Okay. I don't know. We'll see if it's funny or not. I don't know. They're not always funny. Sometimes they're really bad. When Chuck Norris enters a nightclub, he instantly becomes the life of the party. An instant is roughly how long it takes Chuck Norris to kill a room full of people. And on that note, folks, stay CaliBased.